What up? You know what time it is, right? It must be Friday Eve. And it's your girl, Young KP. I've been told not to say K Pizzle, but hey, it is what it is, right? And Keisha Pollard. It's been that type of week. Not that I've forgotten my name, but it's been a week. And luckily, I get to share that with each of you. Church announcements. So, thank you for joining me for another edition of Somewhere in Between. You can find me on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, Keisha Pollard. I did just create an Instagram for Miss Always Amazing. Look her up. I need to give her a shout out on my church announcements. But yes, you can go out and find me on Instagram under Miss Always Amazing. I do have an email address. Go missalways.amazing@gmail.com. So email me some stuff. Comment, like. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate your time. I'm grateful for the opportunity and all the feedback. So the week has been crazy. But before I get into that, I'll share. I was at work today, and we have some visitors from other offices that are visiting San Antonio. And one of the young ladies said, I introduced myself. She's like, the author? I bought your book. I'm like, oh my gosh, how? Like, those are the moments that fill my love tank, right? That fill my joy bucket. It's always an amazing feeling when someone supports. So one book, one like, one comment, one share. It's amazing. And I so believe in supporting each other. It's the least we could do. So my pictures, I had a trip to Chicago a few months ago, I believe. And it was dope. Chicago's a great city. It was fun. It was fun to visit there. First time in Chicago. So what's been going on? What's the goings on? So the weight loss journey continues. Your girl is down to 167. Go me. Go me. I have to get my Arizona body together. Like, that's important. Arizona is June the 18th. So I'm continuing, staying steadfast. This week has been easy. I take medicine for fatigue, and it's been great at suppressing my appetite, but I've had crazy insomnia, and not the kind of insomnia where you want to be up and active. It's just I can't sleep. So what's on Netflix? I think a lot. So I live in a land of noodling. If I haven't explained, noodling is my way of thinking. I hear a lot of people say it at work now. I actually stole it from a previous director, but I use it. Let me think about it. Let me noodle. Let me take something that's tough and fibrous and boil it down in my mind until it's a wet noodle. And graduation, family comes. My mom will be here next Saturday, so that'll be fun. I'm going to see if I can't get her on the podcast. She's super insightful. Of course, she's my mom. I wouldn't think anything else, but I would love to have her. I don't know what I'd have her talk about. I will noodle. But graduation's on its way. It is on its way for sure. I'm excited. I think Shakoy is excited as well. Before we leave for Arizona, she's going to go and get everything set up and registered to start community college in the fall. It's a great time. I've been working on several blog pieces. And shout out to Jonathan Smith. I am teflonjohn.com. You can find some of my podcasts as well as the 2 blogs that I've written. I have 3 or 4 incomplete blogs that I've been working on around work, another one around parenting 101. And I start them, and then when I don't finish, I lose the momentum. Writing for me, like today I could blog about there's just emotions that are brewing inside of me that I could blog about. So I ended up writing one about the heart wants what the heart wants. I even have I got a t-shirt made with that statement on it because it's so true to me. I think it's its own thing. And in the blog I talk about how the Bible says, it's deceitful and wicked in all of its ways, right? And it says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And I do mean that. So it's kind of it's an interesting blog. I wrote it from the perspective of times when my heart wanted something that maybe wasn't the best, right? And how did that get there? How did that desire get planted there? I do believe God will give us the desires of our heart, right? So there's a lot. The heart is the nucleus of who we are. It's the connector of our soul, maybe, right? And sometimes it'll want something that might not be the best thing. And in the blog, I write about, until my heart was ready to release my marriage, I stayed. I stayed in it. And there's other situations in life where, like, nah, my heart is set on something. And earnestly praying, God, sever this thing. This cannot be of you, God. This cannot be of you. But until that happens, or there's a soul awakening or a revelation, not necessarily something has to happen. When there was a release and I knew that my marriage was over and I was okay to end it, right? So check my blog out. I know Jonathan's been working on getting it updated. I just sent it to him maybe late Tuesday. So I will definitely let you guys know when it's up and running. It's another proud piece. Writing is so therapeutic for me. I knew that I needed to podcast tonight because I feel like there's something I need to say. Let's pray that it manifests. But at the same time, writing is my ultimate jam. I put so much emotion and thoughts and energy into what I write, like just the word choice, the order. It's art to me. I don't have the ability to draw or to paint, but writing is a creative release for me, and it allows me to convey what I need to say when I can't always speak it, right? And that kind of leads me into, what are we going to talk about tonight? Yesterday I had a very interesting conversation with a friend, and I've learned that I'm a shutter downer. So let's start with her, right? Shutting down is what I do. Shutting down is what I do when I don't want to talk to you. That's a coping mechanism that I have developed. Good, better, and different. And I recall when I was married, when I'm able to have a conversation, but when the conversation turns gross, and when the conversation is someone is just talking to hear themselves talk or to prove themselves right, I don't know what to do with that. I even YouTubed it last night to understand, what do I do with that? What do I do with that? How do I become effective? Like, it doesn't happen at work. Sometimes I'll be slow to speak, but the conversation last night had me, okay, you're right. Okay. That's how it ended. There came a point when we were at an impasse, we're at a brick wall. I am not perfect. I know, gasp. Grab your pearls, right? But I try to understand other people's perspective, but I'm never trying to change someone's mind. Now, can I influence them from a work perspective, or can I share and hope that what I'm saying makes sense and it might play or have an impact in what you might do in the future? I think about parenting. We don't try to change our children's minds. Some things are statements of fact. No, the stove is hot. So you can touch it and learn the lesson, or you can listen. But, my kids are older, and it's a life of influence. So no, I would much prefer that my children wait till they're financially stable, they're in a great loving relationship to bring children into this world. I can only influence that. And I could talk to them about how my journey and how it worked out. And through my conversations, through our faith, they would be able to see, maybe that's make a great decision. But if they were devout to say, no, Ma, I want to have a baby, let's get the paper and pros and cons that out and see how it looks. And I can only influence. And, going back to shutting down is what I do. It is a definite coping mechanism when I feel that the situation is hopeless and helpless. When there's nothing else I can do or say to be heard, what am I talking for? I'm not in the business of wasting time. And that's what I said last night. Why are we still talking? It's a moot point. And then it turns then it turns into something that it didn't have to be. Like y'all know these conversations. They're never of anything. It never matters. We weren't talking about down payments on a house, or we weren't talking about paying for college or anything that mattered. You know, when I was looking through on YouTube and different articles trying to find out how can I be more effective? You know, if it doesn't matter and if it won't matter in the next 5 hours, then just stop talking about it. And we should have deployed that tactic. Just move on. And I'm okay to just move on when it doesn't matter. Now, there have been times when, you know, I want to have a deep, lengthy, like, no, put your heart on the table. I want to hear it. When I have those types of moments. But if we're just debating and we're at a moot point, shutting down is easy. And when I know that my response would be wounding, or my response would diminish what I was saying, I just get quiet. And I've allowed noodling to cover up for me in that regard. Because at work, my boss will say, we have a lot of meetings on video. My boss will say, I can tell Keisha's noodling. Let's just leave it there. Let's call it that. And usually I am. I'm processing what the directive is, what's the direction that we're going in. Sometimes I just can't speak because I know that what I say would diminish what I mean, or would wound someone. I'm not a casualties of war, girl, but I do want to get better there. I do want to get better. And then so I shut down. Then that results in I'm defensive. Because now I'm offended, right? You've said something to me, or this conversation, you're no longer hearing me, and I'm pissed. So then when I do say something, it's going to be not nice. It's probably going to be below the belt. It's probably going to be off collar. So I'm working on it. Conviction is real. Conviction it's always real. And I immediately, and usually, you know, considering that the conversation last night, of the two, my grievance was smaller. What I felt like my shutting down and refusing to continue with the conversation. But I also feel compelled because I'm not harmony when it comes to strength finders. But life is too short to be beefing. And it ain't about nothing. We ain't even like that. Let's just move on, you know? So that's shutting down. Shutting down is what I do. It's my ministry. I've crafted it. It's next to the write-off. That's the next place I go is, nah, just leave it alone. Let's just move on. Never talk to people again. Just cut them off immediately. I haven't done that in a really long time though. But it exists. Like that ghosting effect in me is very real. So the next one, single but not lonely or alone. I've had to grow into that one. Never lonely. But I used to feel alone. I've never lived alone. 37 years. I've never lived by myself. Grasp your pearls, right? Yeah, I've never lived by myself. I moved out of my mom's house. Had Sequoia. Was living, you know, I had a partner in life at that time. Bought a house. A few years later, got married. I've always lived. I've always had someone. So I'm never alone, literally, but I felt alone. Companionship is important to me, and my children do offer me that. But sometimes you need a little grown-up companionship, and not boudoir things, but just this. You know, the same conversation I was having last night. I was telling my friend about something that I found out at work, but never lonely. I've never felt lonely. Never ever. My sister's here, so surely she wouldn't allow that to happen. But I never want myself. I never want to confuse it for myself either. You know, no, say it loud. I'm single and I'm proud. Can we get that on a t-shirt possibly? But no, never lonely or alone. The absence of my ex-husband gave the perception, and my negative ego wanted to really take that and run with it. Like, now who's going to drive you to Dallas? Now who's going to do these things? You figure out you do them yourself. Rally some great troops. Rally the troops to make it happen. I read a lot of blogs about that one too. Single, but not lonely or alone. No, it's not a thing. But I've honestly had to grow into it though. I write about that. I talk about that in the blog too. What the heart wants is what it wants, and sometimes out of loneliness or desperation, your heart's desire will be to fill the void. But I'm in a place in my life now, I need God's desire for my life, not what Keisha wants. And the two shall combine, right? The two shall always meet. That's the prayer. Stubborn and closed-minded. I probably should have went to this one after shutting down. That was some of the feedback that I got yesterday. And I whenever I get that type of feedback, immediately I'm super offended. I am immediately pissed. I am a victim, right? Like, how dare you? You think so? Me? Little on me? How can I be, right? Am I stubborn? For sure. That is the stubbornness bursts the shutdown. Like, nah, I'm just not gonna talk anymore. I don't care what you say. I'm just okay. I'm just gonna meet you with that level of resistance. I don't know about closed-minded though. I mean, working in corporate America, there has to be some level of open-mindedness. I have been trying to be more conscious of judgment and complaining. I read that people who complain have big insecurities. Not complain. People who talk about other people and pass judgment. So it's like you talk about someone else to make yourself feel better, and that's never my motive. But that could very well be the case. So I've really been trying to be mindful of that. And man, a closed mind, I don't know. It's someone's reality, so it does make me ponder, and I think it's been weighing on me all day. Again, disclaimer, I'm not perfect, and I do only know my experiences. Am I open to hear someone else's? Absolutely. Do I think that am I always looking to change my mind? No. Am I open to having it changed? Sometimes, right? There's moral beliefs are kind of embedded in who I am, right? And it stung. It hit my ego. It made me sad that one of my good friends would think that that's the read. I put a lot of stock into, you know me for not only what I say, but also what I do. And if a conversation can reduce years of friendship down to you're closed-minded, you're stubborn, you only think a certain way. So then my response is, what about when I think the way that you think? Then I'm open-minded. Or what about when I'm doing things that benefit you? I don't know. Sometimes let's look at the whole picture. I'm a forest girl. I'm not a tree. I don't get into the minutia. I try not to judge or assess or write off people based off like that conversation. Do I use those moments and times? Do I store them in a repository? I do. It does help me to understand the makeup of someone, but it really makes me more curious. And I guess that's the part that I feel like is absent when it comes to me. And when people are trying to understand me, it's an immediate judgment versus seeking to understand. Like, no, why would you say that? Why do you think this? And then I don't do right or wrong. I'm never, even at work, I don't live my life to be right. I'm open to other possibilities. It's just that whole right or wrong thing is a trick. It's tricky. And I am a let's agree to disagree. I don't know that we have to. I hear you. I respect you. I hope that you hear me and respect me. I understand where you're coming from. Doesn't mean I have to agree, nor does it mean you have to change my mind. Maybe that's closed-minded. Is that what closed-minded is? I feel like closed-minded. Now I want to look up the definition. I feel like closed-minded is not even hearing the other person. So I looked it up. What is a closed-minded person? Definition of closed-minded: not willing to consider different ideas or opinions, having or showing a closed mind. He's becoming increasingly closed-minded in his old age. Not tolerant of the beliefs or opinions of others. For example, bigoted, hidebound. That's a good one. I don't even know what that means. Illiberal, intolerant, narrow-minded. I've also learned that people will say things because it sounds like something they should say. I find myself a lot of the times asking, but what does that mean? It's when someone says something. Or how has that shown up for you in your life? Give me an example of when you saw me do that or be whatever you're calling me out to be. I'm curious. And some people think it's an ass. And normally it's not. Sometimes for sure it could be, right? And that could be my intention. But normally 99.9% of the time, I am literally curious to understand, what do you mean? What does that look like? What's the application of what you're saying? Because, just simply the statement of closed-minded, the definition, and, through one of my friendships, we're fact checkers, right? I learned that a prostitute and a whore are synonymous through one of our conversations. I didn't think they were the same. I thought prostitutes got paid and whores got it for free. Anyway, but that's one of those, situations where, oh, you're closed-minded because I don't agree with you. It's just two of us. There's not a audience of people where we're having a debate, or we haven't done a poll, and I'm an anomaly, which I'm okay. I am all things anomaly and all things contrarian. It's kind of just who I've become. But I want to be better. That's at the end of the day, I want to leave the world better than how I found it, right? I want to make sure that my children have an amazing legacy and that they can take the torch and keep running. But I also want to forever be a learner. I don't know everything. I don't profess to know everything. I am just as curious as the next person. So when I get feedback, valid or not, just like when I shared about the situation at work and I felt ambushed, although in the moment, I'm more hurt than anything, because I feel like you should just know KP, give us some grace, because I give a lot of grace. But I want to validate, I have to kind of do an x-ray, right, of myself and say, is that legit? Am I really closed-minded? Stubborn? Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yes, I could, just to make a point, I'll be stubborn. But closed-minded? I don't know about that one. But it was someone's reality, whether it was whether it was just to hurt my feelings, it came up. And we just said, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So I noodled on those things, probably more than I should. It impacted my day today. I didn't sleep well last night. I ended up listening to, one of my friends sent me a song on YouTube and took a walk at work. Sometimes it's hard to shake, especially when it's someone that you're close to. And it's like, man, for the love of all things holy. Like, no, not you. No, don't. I expect. There's another podcast I need to do about expectations. They lead us to be frustrated. I would never think that those words would come out. You think I'm stubborn? So I noodle and I internalize, and then it makes me feel like crap. I felt sad today. because I've created this super perfect persona. I talk about that in the podcast too. I remained married long after it should have been over, because there was this pseudo persona, this perfection, married, 2 kids, and a white picket fence. Divorce is failure, and KP don't fail. But I can tell you the day that my marriage was over, and that was how many years later? 7 years. 7 years after it was, no, 5 years. 4 or 5 years after that joint was over, it made it another 4 or 5, just trying to maintain, right? And I can never control what people think about me. But when people close to me give me feedback, I want it. I want to hear it. I do need to get better at not internalizing it. Take a moment. Think about it, validate it if that was true or not, and what I did to give that perception. Pray and move on, right? But I had a good day at work. I'm killing the game at work. And life is great. In the next, 9-10 days? Less than that. My baby girl will be walking across the stage. Last one of my girls finishing high school. Which leads me to, I don't want to forget her in the corner. Always ridiculous. I am. And that's what I love. And I hope that, see, I'm changing. I'm upbeat again. I hope that people that I work with and people that are in my life, I am serious. I am about business. I am about being successful, making money, making moves, right? But I love to have fun. I am a work hard, play hard type of girl. And I have found a sweet, sweet balance. That's a picture of me in New Orleans. Myself and Camille, my girlfriend, we went to New Orleans. And the sign, it was about on the coast right there. That's where the slave trade happened. So, of course, Wakanda forever. I love to have fun, and this is another fun, creative outlet that I have. Although writing is my ultimate jam, it just takes so much time, but always ridiculous. So it's kind of like if I could, Bill Cosby used to have a show where he would draw like, if I could maybe X out some of those. It's always good to take a little inventory, right? The next 9 days, 10 days, my baby girl, maybe 11, is graduating. I'm excited. I'm grateful. I'm ready for the new experience, right? Not an empty nester, but no more kids in high school. I'm excited. Thanks for listening. I appreciate every time. My sister Jackie will give me feedback or send me a message or text me or comment. My mom. My family is super supportive, and then friends too. It's a privilege. My friend Will says it, and most people that use social media or when you share yourself, it's an honor. And I hope that my experiences, be them mine. I'm no professional. I had to look up the definition of closed-minded. I'm not professing to be one. If you're feeling down, get help. It's a serious thing. But I'm just grateful for the opportunity to share another episode, give a quick update. I thought it was quick, 28 minutes in. Look at me. Give a quick update on what's happening in the world of KP, in the world of somewhere in between. You guys know what it is, right? No guilt, no judgment, no shame. It's only and always love. Like, that is the core of who I am, man. Don't ever forget it. Thank you for listening. Have an amazing rest of your day, your night, and a good weekend.